Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile made a joint album. Have you heard that?
No.
It fucking rules.
I haven't really listened to either of them.
Oh, they're awesome. I like Courtney Barnett.
That's a cool name.
Kurt Vile's a great name. And he's got a weird fucking voice.
I can't even put my, I don't have a memory of it.
That's okay. He sounds moderately like Bob Dylan.
Moderately.
Yeah, like he's a little bit I think Bob Dylan was kind of putting it on a little bit. Kurt Vile, I think, just sounds like Bob Dylan.
How do you feel about Timothée Chalamet putting on Bob Dylan?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched the trailer or anything.
The first teaser kind of got me. The more recent one, I don't know. I feel like we've seen the angry rock and roll star movie before. Like him like running away from his fans and like having a breakdown and like hating himself. It's like, yeah, I've seen that.
Who's doing it? James Mangold?
Of Walk the Line fame, which is pretty good.
Well, it's pretty good, yeah.
So like, if anybody's gonna do it right,
yeah,
maybe.
Because
although I don't know, why would anybody want to do a Bob Dylan biopic after Inside Llewyn Davis?
Because they didn't make Inside Llewyn Davis. Like, there are so many great movies that aren't about, but pretty much about a person, and somebody goes, I want to do it too, but then they get I don't know, it's strange. You know what I mean?
No, totally. I've never seen Last Days.
Oh,
the Gus Van Sant, but it's not a biopic.
Right. It's just like loosely Kurt
Cobain. Yeah. Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a Gus Van Sant guy?
I don't think so.
I've never really watched any of his stuff. He didn't do Into the Wild. That's Sean Penn.
Right.
Fascinating.
I haven't seen that one either.
It's all right.
Oh. Sad.
I mean, it's so of its time. I think when it came out in like 2009.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like people were so ready for angry white guy goes into nature, and now it's just kind of like, I don't care.
Sure. Sure.
No offense.
I don't.
That real person.
Right. Who seemed like totally fine guy. Who's just like, I'm tired of America. You're tired of our society.
Yeah. Like, I get it. This capitalist nightmare.
Yeah.
That we're in.
But it's interesting to make a movie about him because we don't really know that much about him, Christopher McCandless. Like, it's interesting. You're always going to project your fantasy onto him.
Right. Because he didn't like formally write down. There's no autobiography or anything. It's just like legend. Yeah,
basically. It was a guy researching him and trying to find him and Into the Wild. So, which is funny to make the movie Into the Wild. I haven't seen it, but it's funny to make the movie Into the Wild about him when it's like other people's recollections of him.
Yeah, totally.
Interesting.
Have you seen End of the Tour?
No.
That's the David Foster Wallace movie, right? Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg and
Jason Segel. Love that guy.
Dude, he's good in it. I remember I watched it not really knowing anything about David Foster Wallace. And now it's like kind of an eye roll because it sounds like it wasn't the nicest person.
Yikes.
But yikes. But Jason Segel's fantastic in it. I think he's really special actually in it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, but that's one where it's like, oh, they're actually pulling from like real accounts, and it's like, I don't know, just the way they did it, because the movie is from the perspective of Jesse Eisenberg's character, the reporter.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is a really smart way to do a biopic. I think it's so hard to make the person the main character.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Elvis did it really well, but
I really need to see that. I mean, Malcolm X is like pretty spectacular. Like, how else would you do that? Like, it's really spectacular. Yeah. But
did you see? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go.
You see, I'm Not There.
Years ago.
That movie bangs.
Yeah.
I think that's like the perfect way to do something like that. I think.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are they doing the Bob Dylan? Now I'm mad. Because that movie's good.
It's good.
And it's so smart the way
Yeah.
they did it.
Yeah.
And like Kate Blanchett as Bob Dylan, like
Perfect. No one else would. Timothy Chalamet, yeah, okay, I have eyes too.
Yeah,
But-
yeah,
yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
annoying. And dude, Heath Ledger also.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. Everybody in that movie's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's the way to do a Bob Dylan biopic. They
Totally.
already did it.
They already did it.
I forgot about that.
How do you feel about the Beatles biopic?
I heard it still feels weird. I'm like, wait, is it actually happening?
I think it's funny that Paul Mescal and Barry Keoghan are in it.
Are they one of the Beatles?
Yeah, they're both Beatles.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. I heard I didn't realize they had announced the cast.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the guy who plays George Harrison. Paul Mescal's playing Paul. Barry Keoghan's
What?
playing... Yeah. Yeah, Barry Keoghan's playing John. Yeah.
I guess I kind of see that one more than Paul.
Oh, no, sorry. Barry Keoghan's playing Ringo.
What?
Yeah.
That one,
Harris
that-
Dickinson is playing John.
Harris Dickinson. Is he the one that was in The King's Man?
No, unless he plays a minor character. Harris Dickinson is from Triangle of Sadness.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a gorgeous man.
He's very pretty.
He's playing John?
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Because I remember looking at their faces and being like, oh, okay, I guess I get it.
Wow.
Beatles.
It's Barry Keoghan. It's not.
Keoghan.
I always want to say Keegan.
Oh, Barry Keoghan. I wish I could. I wish I even knew.
Barry Keoghan?
Yeah.
Barry Keegan? That's a bad. I can't do an Irish accent.
Yeah, so that is what it is. And then the guy that plays George, I've never seen before.
What's his name?
Charlie Rao.
What else is that guy in?
Gigi and Nate, Salvation, which is a TV show. These aren't.
He's the least famous one.
He's the least famous one
That's
for
so
sure.
interesting.
He was in The Golden Compass. That was like 20 years ago.
I feel like Barry Keoghan. I see him more as John.
Yeah. I mean,
He's not ugly enough to be Ringo.
well,
I guess he kind of gives Ringo vibes.
okay. So this is.
Paul as Paul doesn't make sense though. He's the one that doesn't look like Paul McCartney at all.
He looks a little. This is the image I saw. So as I'm reading, I'm finding that this is rumored.
Oh, so none of this is confirmed.
But that was in June. This was rumored in June. It's October now. And nothing has been updated since June. That's weird. June 6th. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, there's no way. I feel like to do a Beatles movie just seems so.
Do you want to look at this?
I kind of see it, I guess.
That's the thing. I kind of see it. Yeah.
I kind of see it.
But sorry, you were about to talk about a Beatles
Man,
movie.
Paul was hot. Huh.
Paul Mescal or Paul McCartney?
Paul McCartney.
He's pretty hot.
His name is George.
Yeah, George is pretty sexy.
I mean, Ringo's not that unattractive. He
He just sits in the back. He does get a bad rap. He's my favorite Beatle. Thank you.
George, I'm a George guy.
I like George. He was fucking cool.
I like how. Have you seen Miles Ahead?
No.
I like that movie a lot. It's a shame because it sounds like the only reason Ewan McGregor is in it is because the studio was like there needs to be a white guy.
Oh.
Which, that sucks.
So-
But I do think doing it through the lens, the lens that movie chooses, it's like a fictional story centered around real events of Miles Davis. It's like a heist movie. He's trying to steal a tape that the record company took from him.
What the fuck? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I would have watched it years ago.
Yeah. It's really spectacular.
Cool.
And it breaks my heart that Don Cheadle isn't directing anymore. But
Sure.
that, when I watched that, I was like, I think Miles Davis would dig this movie.
Hell yeah.
It's just the least straightforward. It just feels like very shambly. Like I mean, it feels like his music, you know.
Sure.
And it's kind of mean. It's funny, but like something like Bohemian Rhapsody, which I didn't even see.
It's bad.
But yeah, it just seems like the most like A to A thinking.
Yeah,
it's not even A to B. It's just like let's
get a guy
read
that
the
looks
Wikipedia
like
page. And put it on film.
I'm just so tired of like the big moment biopics.
Yeah. It's boring.
Yeah, I would like for somebody to do something really interesting. That's what was so illuminating about Elvis. Same thing with I'm Not There.
Yeah, exactly. It's like really, it's like it's making the person's like personality writ large.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
Yeah.
And in a really abstract, fun way.
Yeah.
I would consider those A to C thinking, you know.
Yeah. Like what I like so much about Elvis was it was like, which makes Baz Luhrmann the perfect director for it, is like everything is huge in scope.
Yeah.
Like even the moment where Tom Hanks's character hears Elvis for the first time, he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like,
yeah,
it's earth shattering.
That's so fun. What would you do for the Beatles? What's the A to C?
I mean, I can't think of anything that hasn't been done before. Like, I think it would be really cool. I guess you could do like an Almost Famous kind of thing. Like, I want to figure out
like a young kid,
yeah,
like a groupie.
Yeah, how to harness Beatlemania.
Yes.
Because that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe like, what's that? One Night in Miami? Like,
yeah.
You create a fictional, I mean, it happened, but you create a fictional scenario or whatever where like this uber Beatles fan gets to hang out with them and you get both of it. Like you get four geniuses.
That's
you know?
fun. That's really fun. That's a good idea.
I don't know.
I like that.
And they're played by Paul Mescal, Barry Keoghan.
Yes. Yeah. I think like biopic, like musical biopics in particular that like try to cover the whole life, unless it's done in this very abstract, like we're blowing up the person, like, you know, we're not just like regurgitating a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I think it's really, I think setting a biopic around like a singular event, that tends to really hook. Like I get excited by that. Like I thought Steve Jobs was actually really like
Steve Jobs
it was like
good.
very specific moments.
Yeah. Maybe
and they just like nailed it.
Maybe you could do like when they announce that they're breaking up.
Oh, that's really good.
What I mean? Because everybody knows the Beatles. Like,
yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
That's the thing. That's why, like, even me, who I didn't grow up with them really, and I'm only really discovering them now, in my 30s, and I mean they're great. But yeah, it's like, it just seems like, do we need that?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Yeah, like you have to like impress me. Like I want if they're doing a Beatles biopic, I want it to like shock me.
Yeah. We're just gonna have an Irish guy going, "Oh no, John."
Yeah. Oh my god, fucking kill me. There's also just so much controversy too.
Sure.
And like
with the Beatles. What do you mean?
I just think like the reports of John Lennon like beating his wife.
Oh
and like it sounds like George Harrison similarly kind of has like a, you know,
not a great record.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you address that stuff?
You don't put it in the movie.
Yeah, I guess.
They're probably not gonna put it in the movie.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Biopics are hard.
And biopics are hard.
Is there if you were given $100 million?
Yeah.
And they're like, you can use this to make any movie you want. But one of them has to be a biopic. So you could do like multiple $10 million films. You could do one $100 million film. Or you could do a $50 million. You know, like, but one of the movies has to be a biopic. Which
I already know. Okay, so I do like a moderately low budget. Have you seen Dracula? Okay, this is like my favorite story of all time. So Todd Browning is making Dracula.
Okay.
And there's a Mexican film crew that watches him make it, and then at night they use his set and they make it. This is true. So there's a Mexican Dracula. It's Dracula, and it's like maybe 20, 30 minutes longer, and it's just Dracula again. It's not beat by beat, and they don't reuse a lot of the same shots, but they watch him make it. They learn about filmmaking, not like they don't know anything about filmmaking, but they learn about what they want to do, and then they also adapt it at night when Todd Browning's done.
That's fucking dope. With the same cast?
No, with a Mexican cast.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I think that would be so cool.
Dude, that's great.
Right?
Yeah, fucking A. That's really good.
That would be my movie.
Fuck yeah.
What would you do?
Fuck. Shit, man, I don't know.
Forgive my Spanish pronunciation there. I just felt like I really fumbled it.
Dracula.
Dracula.
I don't know how they say it in Spanish.
Me neither. It's got the accent over the A.
Dracula.
So Dracula.
Dracula. But that's the stress on the A, the ah.
Isn't that what the accent's for?
But I thought it was over the U.
No, it's over the A.
Oh,
the
it's
accent's
over the
A. Yeah.
Then
Dracula.
you nailed it.
Thank you.
Man. This is not a biopic.
Okay.
But
So you're just like, if I had $10 million, I'd make this movie.
yeah. No, well. Okay, so. I forget. Fuck, who was I talking to? I guess at one point, PayPal had to move their servers because it was like something to do with like it was bought out or something crazy. And I had met the guy who had was responsible for coordinating the move with multiple hundreds of trucks or something like semis or something.
Cool.
I forget. God, this is like a memory of a memory. I don't remember where I was when I heard this story, and I don't even know who I was talking to. But I remember they told me the story, and I was like, "That's a great idea for a heist film."
Sure.
Somebody's like, "We're gonna steal PayPal."
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Because it's en route.
Yeah.
And he was saying that there was a window where if anything had gotten fucked up, millions would have been lost.
Right.
Yeah, and so I'm I just that kind of a event in some corrupt company. And the movie would be an exploration of just capitalism and corruption in America.
Hell yeah.
But I just don't know who. I also don't know how accurate this story I just shat out is. But yeah, it would be this exploration of kind of I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just talking out of my ass.
No, that's cool.
But
I mean, that would be cool. A heist to steal the PayPal servers.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I might, again, this is a memory of a memory, but it's a story that's just stayed in my head.
Yeah.
And so if I were to do a biopic, I would want it to be centered around this moment of vulnerability and then fictionalizing it going bad.
Sure.
And I think that would be fun. Putting these real people of note that you would make a biopic about, and then putting them in a fictional stressful situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm just who would that be?
Harris Dickinson, Paul
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Something I think that is so fascinating about movies is that they're time machines where like because you're like capturing light and sound from like a particular moment,
Yeah.
and then you're cutting it next to something else from a different time, you know.
Right.
And one of the craziest moments of this is in The Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
I think
yes.
we've talked about
Yes,
this.
we have.
Yeah,
But please go ahead.
But for the listeners, something that was so revolutionary about the Lord of the Rings trilogy is they shot it all at the same time.
Right.
New Line Cinema was like, fuck it, we're just gonna like go big. So they primarily shot the films in bulk in order, but every now and again they would shoot scenes for Return of the King amidst stuff for Fellowship of the Ring, etc.
Mm-hmm.
One of these times they had to do a bunch of exteriors for the Fellowship of the Ring, and then they got rained out. And it was really early on in the production, and they were like, we can't afford to lose a day. What is built? Like, what can we shoot inside? And the production team was like, the Stairs of Barad-dûr are built, which is the scene in Return of the King when Frodo and Sam are like ascending, and then Frodo tells Sam to fuck off because he thinks Sam has eaten all the food.
Sure.
But really, Gollum has. Spoilers.
Fucking Gollum.
Yeah, fucking Gollum. And so it's a really like intense scene between Frodo and Sam. It's like this big breakup scene. It's heartbreaking. It's terrible. And they scheduled it to be 2 days. One day they shoot Frodo's coverage. The second day they shoot Sam's coverage. Mm-hmm. They get rained out. They're like, okay, we're not gonna waste a day. We're gonna start shooting this scene, this like really intense scene that neither of them were prepared for because they weren't anticipating getting to it yet.
Right.
And they flipped a coin to see who would go first. And I think it was, I'll fact check this, but I think it was Elijah Wood who went first. And then the rain stopped. And they went back outside to do Fellowship of the Ring stuff, having only shot Elijah Wood's coverage.
Right.
They returned to that scene over a year later and shot Sean Astin's coverage.
Right.
So when you're watching that scene, you're watching time jump, like a year in between them.
Right.
And I think that's so fascinating. If I were to do a biopic, it would be about the making of The Lord of the Rings, and it would just be about those 2 days.
That'd be great.
Yeah. And just like, yeah, like all the anxieties of like having to like change shooting schedules and all this stuff. And yeah, that would be my biopic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
What a great start to the podcast.
What a great start to the podcast. We're doing some time machine. I'm sorry.
No. What do you mean?
Well, this is going to be time machine stuff.
Yeah, totally.
We're talking now, and then people won't listen to this. Well, people will listen to this next week, but
yeah, right.
Next time,
it
won't be until November.
So yeah, just to give you listeners perspective.
Yeah.
My name's Ari Wojciech.
My name's Casey Young,
and this is
The Ticket.
And today is October 12th.
Yeah.
2024, year of our Lord.
It is.
It is 13:48 hours. Is that right?
40 hours.
13:40 hours.
Hell yeah.
PST.
Thank
you for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
If you were listening in on last episode,
we changed our format a little bit.
Yeah. And we're going to use this podcast to further help facilitate and further our filmmaking careers.
It's true.
Or at least use it as a tool to keep us accountable and to learn.
Right.
Yeah. So, would you like me to go first?
Absolutely. You've got more to say.
I don't know if that's true, but so what is Ari doing? What is Ari learning? So I just co-launched a YouTube channel with James Nevada and Ryan Nielsen. They are writer-directors. James also acts. He also edit. We all edit, and James also DPs. He's an incredible cam op and cinematographer in his own right. And for the past year, the three of us have been shooting pretty regularly. James and I have shot monthly starting September 2023, and then we shot our last thing this past September to wrap up a year, and now we are balls deep in post-production and like distribution, I guess you could call it. So yeah, we launched the YouTube channel finally. We have 2 videos up as of today. When this podcast comes out, we'll have 3.
Bam.
You can find out in the show notes. It's called Morons.
Morons.
We kind of, when James and I conceived of like shooting for a year in a row, we were like, the goal was not to be precious and to just move really quickly and to just make and then we were just like to be morons, to like make dumb mistakes, just to learn, to like put the reps in. And some of the shorts are really great, some of them are really bad, some of them are really silly, some of them are really uncomfortable. But yeah, it's really exciting. I think I just keep learning, like post-production just takes time. Like editing takes a lot of time, and sound design takes so much time. I am typically responsible for sound on these shoots, and I keep neglecting to get room tone, and it's fucking annoying.
Interesting.
So all you filmmakers out there, get your goddamn room tone.
Get room tone, everybody.
It is going to make a world of difference. And yeah, I think but it is stunning. Like, I think the shoots where we've really prioritized sound and preparing for sound, the post-production process is so much easier. And then some of the shoots we've done, we just haven't. It's been more run and gun, and now in post-production we're kind of paying for it. So yeah, just, good lessons to keep in mind. I think I'm also struck, the most recent short that we posted today called Be Honest. It's just a couple talking about group sex and if that's something that they would be into. And we got really clean audio.
Nice.
On it. But the scene felt like so empty, ambient wise. Like it just didn't feel like you were in a room.
Oh, I see.
It almost felt like it was an animated film before the sound effects were put in, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because the audio was so clean.
Yeah.
So I actually and we had even gotten room tone, but it just wasn't enough. So I put my mic, this was last week, I literally put my mic next to my window and just left it there. And then we had the idea to put some music in the background. And so I put the shotgun mic pointing to my window, and then put a speaker on the other side of the room playing some songs.
Nice.
And then I just laid that over the short, and it made such a difference. It was
really
crazy. It just felt so much more alive and like a space. Yeah, sound is crazy.
Sound is crazy.
Right.
Especially with something like that, for film, it all makes so much of a difference.
Yeah. And I think it's really easy to get super horny and wet over the camera and shot composition, and I think that is great. Do that. Be thoughtful with the way you use a camera, but there's also so many storytelling opportunities in the sound design. It's
absolutely
really cool.
Sound design is great. So interesting.
Yeah, so that's been a really fun exploration. For all you tech nerds out there,
Hey.
I use Adobe Premiere, and I've been finding that I can do a lot of the sound editing in Premiere itself. I don't even have to go into Audition, which has been really exciting. But the industry standard I'm finding, I feel like a lot of people are moving towards DaVinci.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Listeners, comment on this. If you disagree with me, if you're
do you use
fucking
DaVinci?
Idiot, no, nobody's using DaVinci. Or if you're yeah, Ari, get on the bandwagon, you dummy. Let me know. I'm so curious. James is a DaVinci guy, and it's interesting because he'll send me stuff to sound edit, and there's a whole process of bringing it into Premiere from DaVinci, etc. And then Ryan and I both use Premiere, so that makes that workflow much easier. But DaVinci is free, and then once you start editing 4K, you can buy it, but it's a one-time payment.
Oh, nice.
Whereas Premiere is a subscription. So yeah, it's kind of like, am I being smart with my money? You know,
Sure.
But I'm just so familiar with Adobe Premiere,
Yeah.
and DaVinci feels so foreign. I feel like a toddler on a bike without training wheels.
Oh no.
But yeah. Let us know, listeners. Do you prefer Premiere? Do you prefer DaVinci? Do you use Final Cut?
Hey.
Or do you use Avid? Is that the other one?
What the hell is that?
I don't even know. Or is that audio engineering? Fuck, I don't know. There's so many programs out there. The other thing, though, is that they're all just getting more and more robust. Like, eventually it's like you're just going to need one program to do everything, which is cool. But, yeah, that's where I'm at. I am still not writing, which
Me neither.
I'm okay with. We'll get to that. But, yeah, I'm like making a conscientious choice to just focus on, like, editing and post-production and posting and... one other thing. I think something else that's been really exciting. In the past, I've shot and edited stuff just by myself. And like I've had actors with me, but oftentimes it's only me promoting. And I hated it. I hated sharing my own work on Instagram, all this shit. I really hated it. And with this venture, because I'm working with other directors and writers and we're like a team, sharing it feels so much easier. Because it's like, oh, hey, look what James and Ryan and I are doing, as opposed to like, look what I'm doing. And maybe that is like something that I just need to like work through and process, having more like self-worth or whatever. But for those of you who struggle with self-promotion, I think being part of a team does make it easier, So that's really exciting. I've been really enjoying sharing it. Yeah, it's cool.
That is cool. I'm glad that you found something that works for you.
Thank you so much. But yeah. What about you, Casey? What are you doing to be a filmmaker?
Nothing.
That can't be true.
Nothing. I'm watching movies. I'm thinking about movies.
What's the latest thought?
They're good. Not kidding. No kidding. I just went to a screening of Speed, and Jan de Bont was there, and he was talking a lot about how much he loves practical effects.
Hell yeah!
And I was like, hell yeah! I also love practical effects.
Dude, they're special. Nothing quite hits.
No, nothing quite hits. In fact, I was thinking about that. We'll talk about that another time. But I was watching a film that we both have seen, and there's a lot of gun violence. And I was thinking about that when people were talking about that whole Rust scenario with Alec Baldwin.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, well, if you don't fire blanks, it doesn't look real. And I was noticing, one, is your entertainment more valuable than a human life? But also, in the film that we will be discussing later, there isn't any what is that, fire, I guess, from the gun.
Yeah,
and it still looks realistic.
Yeah. I mean, this shit pisses me off because like Robert Rodriguez, from the get-go, like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, there's no real guns in that. Like they're all rubber guns.
Hell yeah.
And it's a blast. Like yeah, I don't know. I have so much. Oh God. They also manufacture prop guns.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're so like it needs to look real or whatever, like shells need to be ejecting or whatever, like they make guns that do that don't use live munitions.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking. Oh my God, that shit's wild.
It's wild. It's just another one of those things, and not to get on a tangent, it's a very short route. Just another one of those things where you'll find that people will make an excuse for anything.
Yeah.
Like no one ever wants to be like, yeah, that was really fucked up. That's kind of all you have to say.
Yeah,
like, that was really fucked up. But yeah, now it's becoming, well, it doesn't look real. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like what world do you live in? Like,
yeah.
God.
Keanu's like blasting people in the face with swords and shit. Like, I don't need guns all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, also practical effects.
Practical effects fucking slap.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There is a line though.
Yeah.
It's like towing. Yeah, because it's like you want to be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories of people dying on set. I mean, we've talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like that shit's so sad.
Oh yeah, it's fucking crazy.
But there's a way to do it safely.
Absolutely.
You know?
There are more sets where people haven't died than people have.
Yeah. I love the use of miniatures.
Me too.
Have you seen The Fugitive or U.S. Marshal?
I've seen The Fugitive. I have a funny story about U.S. Marshal.
Oh, what's the funny story about U.S. Marshal?
So, did I tell you the story that I went to the New Bev and they showed the trailer?
I think I was there with you.
Was that for? I mean, I could remember if that was for the Blade. That I know it was for Blade.
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
So I don't know if I brought this up to you, but they were playing. They were playing the U.S. Marshals trailer, and I was like, "Did they just make The Fugitive again?" Like I didn't know. I didn't know The Fugitive had a sequel.
This. I was like, "Yeah, that's The Fugitive. Yeah, it's the sequel." Yeah.
I didn't know The Fugitive had a sequel, and they're just playing the U.S. Marshals trailer, and I was like, is Tommy Lee Jones playing the same character? Like,
so
does
funny.
nobody think this is fucked up? And then at the very end of the trailer, Tommy Lee Jones is like, it's because I've done this before.
Yeah.
or whatever. I was like, oh, it's a sequel.
Fucking A.
But anyway.
I remember as a kid, I really liked U.S. Marshal. I wonder if it holds up. The Fugitive, I think, is great.
Great movie.
But both of those movies have incredible miniature like sequences.
Cool.
The Fugitive, it's this bus crash, and then the U.S. Marshal, it's a plane crash. And it looks fucking crazy.
I'm always blown away by miniatures because I never know.
Yeah.
I never know.
You would have no idea. Yeah, it's incredible.
I didn't know the bus crash was a miniature.
Yeah, parts of it. Like
Sure.
obviously the stuff in the bus isn't
Right.
miniature, but
they shrunk a little.
yeah, they have a little Harrison Ford clone. Man, that movie is crazy.
Jan de Bont had some great stories about speed because he was like, we had 8 different buses. We had buses for like all these different shots. Yeah. Okay, so this is what was so interesting. I was finding out that this was like the first time that the 3 of them had ever spoken about speed together. Like post a screening, anything
For
like
listeners, that. Casey just attended a speed screening.
Yeah.
With
Jan de Bont, Keanu Reeves, and Sandra Bullock in person.
And Casey also didn't have a ticket.
Yeah. The big story was that tickets dropped. I waited tickets dropped and immediately sold out. And I went an entire month looking for just one ticket. And I think the week of one dropped and it was immediately bought. And I was one of many. I was one of like hundreds of people, maybe 800. I was probably, whatever. There were a lot of people who wanted a ticket. And it was the day of the screening. It's at like 7. I'm sitting in my office at 12. And I'm like, I will not give up because I love Keanu Reeves. I love Sandra Bullock. I love Speed. I love Jan de Bont. But Keanu Reeves is like my guy. And my friend, I'm messaging my group chat and I'm like, I'm going to cry if I don't see Speed. Like, this will be the lowest point in my life if I don't see Speed. Like, I'm saying like the worst things ever. And my friend texts me and she's like, I have a ticket. You can have mine. And I was like, oh my God, what? In fact, bear with me, because I think my first response was, no way. So she texts me, Speed Day isn't going so speedy. And I said something in regards to ending my own life. And then she said, what would you do if you ended up with a ticket? And I said, what would I do with a ticket? I'd ascend to a higher plane. And she said, I've had a single ticket. I would like for you to have it. And I said, no way. You go. I couldn't possibly. Oh, my God. And then she sent me a picture of the ticket. And then she said, I don't want you to jump in front of a bus. And then it was just like the next 30 minutes of, I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't believe this. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm shocked. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Then hours later, I said, I still can't believe it. Thank you so much. I'm over the moon. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you think this person regrets it?
I hope not. Maybe. Maybe. I feel absolutely awful if she does regret it.
I'm sure she does. You're shouting her out right now, so she's probably
she's getting uber famous. Her name is Bree. She works in sound.
Right on, Bree.
Right on, Bree.
Anyway, Jan de Bont.
Yeah.
And this trio, they hadn't been together.
Jan de Bont was like, I haven't seen them in 30 years. Like, he hadn't even seen them.
That's fucking crazy.
Fucking crazy. And it was great. There's so many highlights. But Jan de Bont, a lot of questions directed to him were about the practical effects. And he was talking about how when he shot inside the bus, it was too bright outside. That it did everything practically.
Course, yeah.
So he was like, when we shot inside the bus, it was too bright out, so the windows were tinted. And because it was such a hassle to tint them, we had another bus for when we shot exterior.
Right.
And then he was like, and we had a bus for Keanu's coverage. We had a bus for Sandra's coverage. We had a bus for the bombs and going underneath. Like he was like, we had 8 different buses. And just a bunch of things like that. He was talking about when they did the jump. There's a scene in Speed. If you haven't seen it, go watch Speed. There's a scene in Speed. It's on the poster. It's probably the most famous scene from the movie where they're on the bus going 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, whatever. And Keanu's like, they haven't finished the freeway. And Sandra Bullock's like, what does that mean? And they have to jump like 50 feet going the max speed a bus can go, like 70 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
They have to jump this bus across 50 feet and not kill anybody. And Jan de Bont was like, oh, I was talking to the guy who was gonna jump the bus, and he was like, I wanted to be kind and calm, and he was like, because I said, if you don't go as fast as you can, it's gonna be really bad for you. And that apparently the guy got nervous towards the end and slowed down, and the bus crashed and crushed like 7 cameras, and they ruined the bus. And Jan was like, don't tell the studio. Don't tell the studio. We can make it work. Don't tell the studio.
Did the guy die?
No. He was okay. He did it again. He did the next drive. There was no bomb on the bus. But then the next time he made the jump, and then he ran into 10 more cameras.
Oh no! I mean, that just sounds like a PA fucked up. Like, get
Open
those
the cameras
out of the way.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Because that's what Keanu had this whole joke where he was like, there were cameras everywhere. There was a camera shooting this way. There was a camera on my face. There was a camera on Sandra's face. There was a camera on the bus. Da, da, da. And Jan was just like, I like having multiple cameras. Like,
yeah, man. I mean, that's like, especially when you're doing stuff like that. Like,
yeah, you got to get it.
Yeah. Wow, that's so fucking crazy. Dude, Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, he's great in that movie.
He's really good in that movie. He's really great in that movie. Fuck, I always forget that he's in that.
I love him. Everybody lost it at the line where he's been, at this point in the movie, he's been shot in the leg. He's just received a Medal of Honor, basically, for being shot in the leg. And he gets drunk with everybody, all the cops in the station, and he's plastered. He stands up, he's got his little cane, and he's like, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to have some sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels. He's so
incredible.
Good. What were you going to say, sir?
Keanu was saying that he gave him a lot of tips on set.
Jeff Daniels did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he was basically saying, he was like, I was still pretty much a newbie when I was doing Speed, and that Jeff Daniels was really established.
Wow.
Yeah, and that every time, like, he was so cool, and he basically knew everything that was going to happen, and that, like, he would turn to Keanu and be like, this is how this is going to go, and that's the way it went.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Fuck.
It was pretty cool.
Is that before or after Dumb and Dumber?
What's that, 96, 94, something like that? So before? Around the same time, I guess.
That's so interesting. What a wild career.
He's an interesting guy. Played George Washington.
He played George Washington?
Wasn't he George Washington in that one movie?
What one movie?
The movie about George Washington? No. Jeff
Glory?
Daniels.
No, that's a Civil War movie.
Yeah, George Washington was dead. Jeff Daniels, George Washington. The Crossing. Yes. It's about George Washington.
He played George Washington?
He played George Washington in The Crossing.
It's about that painting where they cross the river?
It's about the real events, I believe. Less than 6 months after the Declaration of Independence, the Continental Army under the command of General George Washington was on the brink of utter defeat. Washington decides to risk everything on one last desperately daring act on the town of Trenton, where over 1,000 of the feared Hessian mercenaries are garrisoned. Wow, that's a lot of words I don't know.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
Wow, Jeff Daniels is George.
It's a TV movie. I think I saw it in school, which is why I always remember.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I should give that a shot.
Yeah, everybody should give it a watch.
Well, right on. Well, thanks for sharing that. You're what? So you're not writing.
I'm not writing.
What are the feelings that you feel when you think about writing?
Disdain.
Maybe
not disdain, but I think the more I want an end result, the less I want to do for it, which is like the opposite of 90% of people.
No, I think that's like very common.
Okay, great. Yeah, I wouldn't even say that I'm discouraged or I have a fear of failure or a lack of want. When I think about writing, I'm just like, again? More of this?
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Would you rather write or direct?
You know what? If to be singular anyway, I don't think I could direct, just because I really don't have an imagination. Like when I read a script, I don't really have anything in my mind when I read it.
Oh. Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
But you like aspire to be a director though, a writer director.
I wouldn't direct anybody else's stuff. I'd let somebody else direct my stuff, I think. But
I see.
Yeah.
So you're like Tarantino. You're like Tony Scott.
Yeah.
Here's True Romance.
Yeah, and then do make it awesome. Make it so where everybody goes, my problems really weren't with the directing. It was with the script.
Yeah, right. Right on. So do you like writing?
Yes. I would say I do. I never really understood people. Well, maybe now I do more, but I never really understood people who were like, writing sucks. I hate writing. I do it because I have to. I like it. I think I just get more tired than anything else.
Oh, while you do it.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh my goodness. And there's still 40 more pages.
When you write, how long what's the chunk of time you write typically?
I usually dedicate an hour, but if I'm writing something that I really like, I could go for days and days and days. Like I could write until I'm crashing, and then when I wake up, it's all I'm thinking about until I can get to writing again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When was the last time you felt that way?
A long time. I probably haven't written in a year, so I don't know. A year? I don't know.
Dang.
Yeah. It's just not like... The more I try to focus on what I would call realistic goals, the further and further I get away from it, I think is what that is.
Yeah. What are the realistic goals?
Well, I'm working on becoming an accountant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and that's very nice and that's very steady. Where I know that I have security, and I know the exact steps that I need to take to get there. So right now I'm just like kind of in the middle of that.
I see. When you say realistic goals, you mean
like as far as my career.
Yeah.
You know, creating a safety net for myself because I did for years. I left high school when I was 17, and then I didn't work until I was like 19. And then I didn't go to college. I was doing like odd jobs between 19 and basically now. And I was always like, well, one day I'll make a really great movie and become really famous, whatever, make a lot of money. And then I got this job, and I was like, oh my God, I'm nearing, like, I'm closer to 30 than I imagined I was before. Sorry?
I said, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah. And I was like, I should start creating a social net or a safety net for myself. Because there are people who are my exact same age who, because they went to college, have a lot more security than I do. And I didn't do anything to establish that. So I've hit that point where, you know.
Oh, I see. So you just feel like you don't have security.
Yeah, and I've just prioritized different things. And it's getting to a point where, like, I think that there are people in my life who are disappointed that I put a lot of that stuff on the back burner, but I feel pretty okay with it, to be quite honest.
Putting like writing and stuff on the back burner?
Yeah.
I see.
I used to be in a band. I used to write music, and I used to be very passionate about music. I also don't do that anymore. And there are times where my mother will look at me like she wants to cry, and she'll be like, I wish you had kept playing music. And I'm like, I just don't do it anymore. There's sometimes there's no real explanation for it, just that I just don't do it anymore. Yeah, so it's a big thing. Like I think I would be perfectly content with doing a job like I do. The proximity that I have anyway, I do like accounting. But I also don't want to see myself in 20 years and be like, oh, like I gave up. Because that's not how it feels right now. It's just I'm prioritizing different things.
Yeah. I mean, a foundation is very important. So yeah, somebody was telling me recently, like they were like, the goal isn't to like make a movie or finish a script. He's like, the goal is to keep playing the game.
Okay.
Like, it's hard to keep doing stuff. And like, if you're taking steps to just keep playing the game, sometimes that's enough.
Sure.
You know? Because if you're playing the game but you have no security, like eventually, you know, you might have to like leave town, or you fall into a bunch of debt. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like setting up a foundation. But I guess like when is the foundation going to be laid enough?
I guess when I move out and I paid off my car, I guess. I have very small goals. Like I'd like to move out.
Great.
I've still got like $11,000 on my car. I don't know.
Yeah, this is great. This is very like real. No, that's
thanks.
Great. What steps are you taking to make that shit happen?
Well, I'm working at my job.
No, it's great.
I don't know. What steps am I making? Well,
you're opening a savings account.
Yeah, Ari's asking this because I just told him about an hour ago that I didn't have a savings account. So I guess I'm opening a savings account. That's my big thing. My credit is in the shitter. I need a secure card. I need to see a financial advisor. That's what's so great about my job too, is that I have a friend, and he's a bookkeeper and accountant, and I have another friend at work who is also an accountant, obviously, right? And they give me advice. They give me like free advice, basically.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, which is all very helpful because I need it.
It's invaluable.
So true. The value does not exist because it's so large, right? Invaluable,
Priceless.
priceless, just like the Capital One card I hope to get. Who is it? American Express?
MasterCard, I think.
MasterCard. Oh, well, I have a MasterCard. So that's where I'm at. Like, am I working on filmmaking? No, but I feel like I'm making positive strides in my life. My personal life's going very well.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Thanks. I do my best.
And we're here to support you.
Thanks. We've got a podcast. We're having a party next week.
Oh yeah. Come
to the party.
Come
If
to
you
the
haven't
party.
already received an invitation from us.
Yeah.
Come to the party.
October 24th
Yeah.
at All Seasons Brewery.
Yeah.
You know where we live. And we'll see you there, 7 p.m.
I'm getting shit-faced.
Ari will likely get shit-faced.
Hell yeah.
Ari will be like, I'm not going to do that, and then he will.
He's going to see me having so much fun.
I like to have fun.
I like to have fun. I love to have fun. I've become like a real loser.
What do you mean?
I was talking to I was talking to a friend of the podcast, JJ, and I was like, I'll come over, I'll bring drinks, let's get shit faced. I got drunk, and then I was like falling asleep, like sitting up in the middle of my stories and sentences. And he was like, it's okay, it's been like 6 hours. And I was like, I remember when we used to go to sunup. I remember when I used to be young. But I was so tired.
Yeah, I mean, getting sleep is great.
I
You can
love
have
sleep.
fun and get sleep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love sleep. I will be getting drunk.
Yeah, we'll see. I might not. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how I'm feeling.
Sure.
I'm not gonna make
It's
any
gonna be a
promises.
Thursday night. It's gonna be
It's gonna be a
hard.
Thursday night. It's gonna be great.
We haven't been drunk together in a while.
Nope. Yeah, that's
Nope.
true. Yeah, that would be fun. I'll bring.
No. I'm not saying that to pressure. I was just like, we haven't really, because I was like, have I ever seen you drunk? Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, we haven't had a proper drunk
Yeah.
in a while. I'll bring my electrolytes. It'll be
Hell yeah.
great. That makes such a difference, though.
Yeah.
Chugging a Gatorade before bed.
Oh yeah. You wake up and you're like, oh, I can live today.
Yeah. I don't feel like total ass. But yeah, congratulations, Casey.
Thanks.
That brings us to our new and improved
Yeah. Criterion Casey.
Criterion
Casey.
So now Ari participates.
Yeah.
It's just Criterion Casey. Criterion Casey. That's the worst thing I've ever heard. Listeners, put in the comments what we should call it.
Criterion Casey. Criterion
Criterion Kari.
Criterion Kari. That's good.
Criterion RC? No.
RC.
Fucking A. We're talking about
Pygmalion.
Pygmalion.
Which, wow, where's my phone? We're getting it.
I'm getting some notes here, people.
Pygmalion. Directed by Anthony Asquith and Leslie Howard.
Also starring
Starring
Howard.
Leslie Howard. And Wendy Hiller in her first feature film.
I did not know that was her first feature film.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that don't know, Pygmalion is a play by George Bernard Shaw that was written in 1913. The movie we watched is from 1938, and it's about linguistics professor Henry Higgins, who boasts that he can pass off Cockney flower girl Eliza Doolittle as a princess with only 6 months training. Henry Higgins' friend, Colonel George Pickering, takes him up on this bet, and Eliza moves in with Higgins to his home and begins the rigorous training process that's like daily. They're doing it for like 16 hours a day. He's just like teaching her how to pronounce words phonetically, etc. You've seen My Fair Lady. It's basically My Fair Lady. It is My Fair Lady.
Seen My Fair Lady.
It's crazy because like Pygmalion, My Fair Lady is just Pygmalion with songs. I did not know it was like such a one-to-one translation. It's like crazy.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, this movie fucking rocks. I was into it.
I thought it was pretty okay. I don't know if it's necessarily entirely my speed. Excuse me.
Give us some Criterion facts. What spine number is it?
Criterion facts. Oh, now he wants a Criterion fact. All right. Spine number 85.
It's my number 80. That's early.
Very early. Very early.
That's
incredible.
Early. Wow.
It's out of print. I guess they got the they lost the rights there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why there are parts of the movie where the quality isn't as good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the picture quality is like
interesting,
different, and like the sound quality too. It like shifts.
I didn't even notice.
That must be why. That's so interesting.
Must be why. Criterion's so interesting, and people who are familiar with it probably feel the same way. So it was a DVD, and then why I get Criterion's is the special features. I also get it for the covers. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't get it for the covers.
Are great.
But this one, special features, English
subtitles. Yeah, that's it.
And that's it.
They have nothing on this. But yeah, it's a blast. It's an old film, so for those of you who are averse to black and white films,
grow up.
But actually, I will say, I think something that struck me. So the movie really sets itself up as an enemies to lovers rom-com. Like it really feels like, oh, this is where this is going. They're gonna fall in love. Da 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 da. But then it takes a sharp fucking left turn into like social commentary territory, and it's great. It's wild. So the movie, you tell them what happens.
Oh, what happens in the movie? Okay, so what Ari said. Henry Higgins sees Eliza Doolittle and is looking down his nose at her, which is so, which I think really makes the turn really great because exactly what you said. The movie sets it up like they're going to fall in love, but kind of the whole time you're like, why? For what? He's awful. And so much so that
he treats her like shit.
She thinks he's awful. His mother isn't particularly fond of him, and he's always positioning himself as better as anyone else in the room. Mm-hmm. There's a great scene where I think it's Eliza's first time like really in public. It's after she meets Henry's mom and all that kind of stuff. But the same thing. He's in a room full of literal European royalty, and he still thinks that he's like the smartest person in the room. Yeah. But Henry Higgins sees Eliza. He says, "Oh, she's so pathetic. Let me fix her, whatever." And he takes on the challenge. And yeah, it plays. What I think really is that he's fascinated by her as like a creature, like an anthropologist in bones or something like that.
Yeah, she's like in a museum.
Yeah. And then just further teaches her and dehumanizes who she once was, and loves to, which I think is another bit to that point. He loves to parade her as tangible evidence of his intelligence. Like he's never proud of her; he's proud of himself. He's never showing off her particularly. He hides in the background and enjoys people being fooled by his work. And he's a piece of shit. And the movie doesn't. I wouldn't say that this is me reading too much into it. I think the movie positions him as a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, totally.
But then there's that spoilers for. I guess we should say spoilers for Pygmalion.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck this movie's called. Spoilers for Pygmalion. But then it hits this really great point where Eliza has essentially reached the end of her training. She can pass as a princess, and they come back from this big party, this ball with all this European royalty, and she's basically like, you know what, Henry, this sucks. Actually, I feel like you've made me into a worse version of myself. I liked who I was. On the street.
Devastating.
She's like, I don't feel human. You don't treat me as human. And the whole time, Henry's like, What are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh my
god. And then she goes and lives on her own, and she still uses what she's learned, but trying to find a version of herself that exists without Henry's iron fist.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's such a brutal moment where she's like, yes, I was like a commoner, I was like a peasant, basically, flower girl, but back then all I sold were flowers, and now that I am a lady and can pass as like a duchess or whatever, the only thing I can sell is myself. And I was just like so struck by just that just felt so much more intense than the movie was like setting itself up to be.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of so the play took place in like the 1910s, right? And then the movie came out in 1938. And she brings up a lot of good points about like being a woman. Like in those times, like she's like, I have nothing.
Yeah.
And for you to continue to treat me as a thing is so demeaning. I'd rather like go back to nothing.
Yeah.
Fuck. And there's this other great point where she's like, you always treat me as a flower girl. You always treat me as like a pauper, a peasant.
Yeah.
But your friend, he, even when I was the flower girl, treated me like a duchess. Yeah. And like the character assassination of Henry Higgins at the end is like so brutal.
Yeah. And so much so where like my interpretation of the ending was that he still hasn't entirely figured it out. Like he fights her for so long. I feel like when we get to the last few minutes of the movie, he's only just barely getting what she's talking about.
Yes, totally. Yeah. The and again, it is an older film. There's a lot of like very standard traditional coverage, like a lot of like wide shots. A lot of the action plays out in like a one master. But at the end, when it gets really intense, when they have that big argument, just great use of close-ups.
Yeah.
It felt very modern.
Yeah.
And very impactful. Like they like hold off on close-ups until that moment, really. Yeah, it's great.
And then the whole scene's like pretty much in the dark.
Yes.
Like, they don't turn on any lights. It's nighttime.
Yeah, it's very moody.
It's very moody. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, check it out.
Pygmalion, if you like that kind of thing.
Casey wasn't that into it.
I wasn't into it, but I mean, yeah, if it sounds interesting, watch it. That's what I always say.
You should watch My Fair Lady.
I should watch My Fair Lady?
Yeah, I'm so curious what you'll think.
With Rex Harrison and Audrey Hepburn.
That's right.
That's who it was, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool. I like musicals.
Yeah, the age difference in My Fair Lady is annoying.
I don't give a shit.
In Pygmalion, they're like closer in age, which I thought was more compelling.
I like age gaps. I think that's okay and cool. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
No, you can. I feel like I can warm up to the idea.
I think I care less
as long
about
as the
them.
power dynamics aren't weird.
Sure.
And I think that's what makes it weird in My Fair Lady.
Sure.
Is because she doesn't have any power.
Right.
Until the end.
Until the end. Perhaps that's the point.
Perhaps that's the point. Fuck.
Maybe My Fair Lady expanded on it by also including an age gap.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm just kidding.
I like that. I think that's a good reading.
I'm like lukewarm on age gaps. I think sometimes people can be a little intense about them.
Right.
Like anything.
Like Dave Grohl and his new baby. Not to bring it back to that.
I am not okay with Dave Grohl, and I saw this video, and this guy was like, it wouldn't make any difference to me as like if my plumber had an affair. It's like, all right.
What?
So you know how when people are like, I don't care what this person does because all they're doing is doing a job for me. Like this musician is whatever. So he's basically saying that Dave Grohl being a drummer for Nirvana, the singer for Foo Fighters, is the same, means the same amount of whatever to him as a plumber comes into his house and fixes his toilet. Like he was like,
What?
I don't care about their personal lives as much as I would anybody who performs another job.
Oh, I see. I see.
I think that's reductive. But also I just find it really pretentious when people say stuff like that. But also that's the state of the world, and I can talk about whatever I want. And I think it's weird for anybody to get some random girl pregnant and and leave your wife. And well, I don't think he left his wife, but I think it's bad to cheat on your wife. I think anyone cheating on your wife is bad.
Yeah, it ruins Christmas, man.
It's like, oh, yep, here's I got to bring her. It's part of my alimony settlement, whatever.
Yeah, fuck.
Makes it weird. It's not that hard to just, wrap it up.
Yeah, if you're gonna cheat, put on a condom. Least you can do.
What a mess.
Anyway. Well, right on, Casey.
Right on, Ari.
Happy episode 29.
Happy 29.
I have a poem for all of us.
I can't wait.
We are continuing our exploration of Fiona Benson's Vertigo and Ghost.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. It's the first collection of poetry I've read that has like a real narrative through line. I feel like most of the collections of poetry, it's like there might be like thematic segments where a series of poems center around the same theme, but they're like you could just read them out of order and it wouldn't really matter. But Fiona Benson's collection, Vertigo and Ghost, reading it in order is very impactful. It's really fucking me up, actually. I'm going to read to you today the first poem in the collection. This is called Ace of Base by Fiona Benson. That was the summer hormones poured into me, like an incredible chemical cocktail into a tall iced glass. My teenage heart, a glossy maraschino cherry, bobbing on top as that rainbow shimmered through me, lighting me up like a fish. And I was drunk, obsessed, desperate to be touched, color streaming from my iridescent body. As the wide summer night threw open its doors and called us into the evening to sit in its love seat and gossip about boys. Though we would have fucked anyone back then, each other had we dared, right there on the tennis court. All us unparented girls, released from the boarding house, to practice our backhand, desire between us like a shared addiction in its crooked spoon, desire and the holding back, the terrible restraint. As we listened to the top 40 or our 3 CDs till the batteries ran down, till the asphalt's grit had pressed its intricate red pattern on our thighs, and we talked about who done what with whom and how it felt, all of us quickening. And sex wasn't here yet, but it was coming, and we were running towards it, its gorgeous euphoric mist, pushing into our own starved bodies at night for relief, like the after calm might last, like there was a deep well of love on the other side.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's my favorite one yet, I think.
Whew. Yeah, it's a real, she fucking rocks. And again, that's the first poem of the book, and it just gets gnarlier from there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, thank you all for being here.
Heck yeah.
As always, if you've made it this far, you can message us on one of our many platforms. We are on Instagram at This Is The Ticket.
At This Is The Ticket, as well as Letterboxd.
As well as Letterboxd too, at This Is The Ticket. On TikTok, we are at This Is The Ticket Pod.
So true.
And our Gmail is This Is The Ticket Pod at gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you're the first one to message us on any of these platforms, we will Venmo you $1.
Take your dollar.
Take your dollar, people. I also have a YouTube channel called Morons.
Hell yeah.
Give it a watch. You'll find the link in the show notes.
Hell yeah.
Casey?
I have a Substack, In the Defense of Taste.
In the Defense of Taste. Woo!
We're on hiatus right now.
It's coming, people. It's on its
coming.
way. But yeah, thanks for listening. My name's Ari Wojciech.
My name's Casey Young.
And this is
The Ticket.
Woo!
Thanks, everybody.